Alrighty. Just waiting around. Let's get this started. We'll wait a few minutes. Okay. Still have a few more minutes before other people join, so hopefully we can get there. Hi, Casey. Nice to see you. Still have a few more minutes before we begin. Oh, hello. I am live.
By what? By vape?
Okay. I hope that I'm live. People can hear you. If there are people on.
You are live. Nice
Oh,
I'm
okay.
short, so.
What? Hi, Brandon. We'll give it a couple more minutes and then we shall begin. Oh, that's Brian. Hi, Brian. Life after graduation. Wow. Don't graduate. Adulthood is a trap. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha. I'm just kidding. Graduation is awesome. It's to celebrate. Woohoo. Hope everyone is doing well this evening because it is a beautiful day, beautiful Monday. It's gonna rain the rest of the week, which sucks. Rain is not fun. Do not like the rain, but it's better to be rained.
You have to be Nevada inclusive. It's gonna snow.
I know it's gonna. I was gonna say it's gonna probably snow in Nevada. I'm sorry for my fellow Nevadians. Is that what you call them?
No.
Then what do you call them? Friends. Our friends from Nevada, Reno. Reno. Reno's fun. The drive up there can be very long, but so is the drive down. So props to everyone that makes that drive because I will never ever drive that. But then in SoCal, it's also rainy and kind of cold too. All of California is just being drenched in water right now, but that's not that big a deal because we kind of need the rain. Rain is good.
What workshop was this?
Life after graduation. We're trying to wait, give it a couple more minutes before people come in. I hope all y'all are ready. We'll go. We'll start in 2 minutes, which is 8:03 right now, and then we'll start at 8:05. But I know there's a lag when it comes to webinars, so gotta do with what we gotta do with what we have. I hope everyone's day is wonderful. Their February is going well. Chinese New Year just passed. Lunar New Year. It's the year of the boar. Go pigs. It's our year, our hard year, but it'll be a good year. Yep, you learn to pick up a lot of interesting things once you're not in college anymore. Hello, welcome. Hi, friends. I hope you are all ready. Okay, it is 8:05. Let's go ahead and get this started. So, hello everyone, welcome. My name is Sienna. I will introduce myself momentarily, but this is the Life After Graduation What Next webinar, and we're here to talk about what life will be like or what to expect and how to tackle life after graduation. So, let's go ahead on to the next. So, hello, my name is Sienna. I am a graduate from Sacramento State, class of 2017. So I graduated about 2 years ago. I got my bachelor's in health science with an emphasis in community health education. And I graduated cum laude, which is graduating with above 3.5 GPA. So yes, I was very heavily focused on academics. Academics are important. They are definitely important, especially when you go for a master's, because I am currently in pursuit for my master's in physician assistant studies because I do want to be a PA. And through my experience, I've managed to get where I am, and I have been in I was in Circle K for 5 years, and I held various positions ranging from appointed board, e-board, and onto district committees. And currently, right now, I am a Sacramento Kiwanis member, so that is Sacramento State's sponsoring club, and I'm very happy to be part of their organization and want to give back. So that's why I'm here. And an interesting fact about me is that I really love coffee and tea and my puppy. And that right there is a picture of my cute little doggy. And aside from that, my two big quotes that I like to follow are trust the process and work hard, play hard. So there we go. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and go on to our small activity. I want everyone to take a look at this. Very easy. So the question is, how do you feel about graduating? So you may either go onto the selected link right there or text the Sienna Nguyen 183 to the number 22333 to join. And all you have to do is submit one word, quote, or saying and how you feel about graduating. And you are allowed to submit up to 3 responses. So let's have some audience interaction. We'll give it a couple of minutes and then we'll see what some of y'all have said. Don't be shy. Share your responses. Oh, I see someone put exciting. That's really cool. Scared. Okay, definitely excited. Keep going and submit. Scared yet excited. Excited yet scared. Okay. Keep on submitting responses. We'll go ahead and keep accepting for a couple more minutes. Optimistic, cool. I like that. That's good. That's a good word. Optimistic. Oh, I see someone put nervous. We have excited. Okay, so a lot of people are excited about graduating. All right. Questionable. Okay, interesting. All right. Definitely, graduating is not a very easy task, and it does make us question things. Good. That's okay. We'll take another 2 minutes to accept a couple more responses on what other people feel. Okay, scared and excited right now. Hashtag life too short. Okay. That is true. Life is definitely too short. Confident. I miss Lawrence as Diego. Who put this? Confident, pressured. Let's see, nervous, confident, pressure, life too short. Very poor. Yes, we will be talking about money. We have a money talk coming up in our slides. Okay, do one more minute to see what other people say. Unknown. Unknown. Okay. All right. I like these responses. These are great. This is good. So as you can see, everyone feels a lot of different things. Yes, fearful. There's definitely a lot of different feelings and how we feel about graduating, and it's totally normal. I think even for myself, I was very excited and nervous about graduating and also very unsure of how things would go. But I like these responses, and I'm really happy that a lot of you guys are sharing your thoughts. Scared and excited seem to be the big ones right now. So that's okay. We're going to get through this together. Okay. So for now, we're going to go ahead and cut it off right there. But I hope you all had an opportunity to see that a lot of people feel the same things, and we're all in this together, and it's not going to go through it alone. So let's go ahead and continue. So thank you all for participating. I like that. I like your guys' responses. All very normal. So what's the purpose of this webinar? So first off, our first purpose is to ease any tension and distress, because like a lot of y'all have mentioned, you guys are very scared and unsure about graduating, because life after graduation, what is next? So we'll go ahead and go over things, how to handle that. The next thing is to offer guidance and reassurance. So the purpose of this webinar is to also show you that it's okay to not know what's going to happen next, or if you don't have everything planned out. It's normal. And then lastly, our last point is to give words of encouragement and positive vibes, because with such a scary and momentous moment in your life, we want to make sure that you are embracing it, going through it in a positive manner, and making sure that you are in the right environment and setting. So we'll go ahead next. So, life after graduating, what's there to expect, right? So, let's continue. So, what's there to expect? We'll go over some main points. We have grad school. If any of you all are considering going to grad school, work. If some of you want to go to work right away, that is totally normal. A lot of people also do that as well. Loans. So, for those of you who are taking financial aid or on loans, we are going to go over some important things about that. Free time. Surprisingly, you do have a little bit more free time compared to when you're an undergrad or in college where you're doing everything. So, we'll talk about if you do have some free time. And USP, what's that? So, that's something we're going to talk about later on in the webinar, but it's something I want you to incorporate, excuse me, incorporate into your grad school, your work, or when you're doing job hunting. And we'll go over that momentarily. So, what to expect? So, first things first. So, monotonous, work, 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 work. Sometimes that can happen. Sometimes we are, as a working adult, we are often seen in situations where we're just going to work all the time. And some days it feels like you just go to work and that's all. And that can happen. But again, it is definitely avoidable. You can fight that, but it is something to expect because you do, if you work Monday to Friday from a 9 to 5, it happens unless you work weekends and it all depends. But work is definitely something to expect in adulthood. Um, Adulting. So living the adult life. So a lot of our people in our generation talk about, oh, I'm adulting today. I'm doing this, yada, yada, yada. So we're going to talk about how adulting, it is definitely different because no one really taught us how to do things on our own. We weren't taught how to do our taxes, how to do things unless we were forced to. So that's something to consider when you are heading into adulthood. Next is career choice. And we think about, is this the right choice for me? Do I want to go into this field? And it's very common. It's very common to hear adults saying, I don't want to do this field anymore. It's not fun. It's not interesting to me. And it happens even at 18. You don't know if you want to stick with the major you want to go in for the rest of your life. And I think one of the best ways to combat this is finding mentors because even for myself, have found mentors in the health field to help motivate me and inspire me to continue going this route because medical field is pretty it some days it can be really great, some days it can really suck, but to have someone there to say it's going to be okay, you're doing the right thing, I think this is for you, is super helpful. And then in Kiwanis, I think is another great way to find mentors because you learn how to work with someone of older age who has a lot more life experience, who may have more experience in maybe your field. So Kiwanis is really great. And personally for me, I joined Kiwanis because I really love the people I worked with and I also want to continue giving back, just as Kiwanis has done for me. So next, what else is to expect? What else can we expect? Friends. Who are they? So, as a working adult and living the post grad life, it is a lot harder to find friends, not find friends, but to find the time to hang out with friends because a lot of them are also working, they're also living their life as well. And it happens. So, the best way to combat this is to say, hey, let's hang out this day, this time, and actually plan that because even for Sac State, when I was in college, you would just go to Union and say, hey, let's go hang out. Let's do this. Let's do that. But it's not as common as when you're in adulthood because everyone else has things going on. So it's important to make sure you make time for your friends and family, of course, too. So are any of you planning on going to grad school? I know for myself, I do intend to, as you already know. And so I do know a lot of other people that want to go to grad school. So you have to consider doing your grad school apps, what you need for them. A lot of grad school applications require letters of references, personal statements, your coursework, and money, of course, because you have to pay for all that somehow. Or even testing, if you have to take tests for your grad schools, like the MCAT for med school, LSAT for law school, or even the GRE, which is the hyped up SAT version for grad schools, so something to consider, and free time. So yes, in adulthood, you do have a lot more free time compared to undergrad, where your work life usually has a consistent schedule if you have a career that has that. And so you have the opportunity to go travel. You do have the opportunity to sleep more, unless you're just someone that doesn't like to sleep, then that's okay. And you also have time for more leisure. So if you have hobbies that you didn't have an opportunity to get involved in while you were in college, you were able to do that again. So, for example, if you really like art or music, you can start getting back into that. So, those are just some things to expect as you head into adulthood. Next. So, what else can we expect? So, because I mentioned earlier about finances, and make sure if this is the one thing that you remember from tonight's webinar, remember this: finances. Finances, I know money is something, it's a touchy subject for many because, oh my gosh, we're broke, poor college students, working adults, yada, yada, yada. But this is something we all need in our life. So if you're someone who has trouble, maybe saving up money, or you're someone who tends to overspend money on food, boba, coffee, whatever, then this might be very helpful for you. So if any of you have or have not heard of the 50-30-20 rule, this is how it goes. So let's say you have a paycheck and you want to use your paycheck as efficiently as possible. So 50% of your paycheck should go to your necessities, such as utilities, bills, car payments, whatever important finances you need to pay off. That's where 50% of your paycheck should go to. 30% of your money, of that paycheck, should go to maybe extra spending. If you want to splurge a little bit, treat yourself, because that's just what we love to do, treat ourselves, then that's where that 30% will go. And then you have 20%, which should go to your savings. I hope some of you all have savings, because this is something to definitely build up on as you get older. You never know what could happen if your car breaks down, or if you need to pay off car insurance, or if you have just some medical bill to pay off. This is what savings is for, the untouchables. But again, put it away. Don't use it unless you really need it. And then for those of you who are on loans, there's this thing called a 6-month grace period, which I'm sure a lot of you already know. But once you graduate, the clock starts ticking to where your 6-month grace period starts to kick in, and where you have no interest on your payments. However, once that time is up, your interest will start kicking in, and then that's the time where you got to say, I should probably start paying off my loans. Now, there are other situations. If you take time off school, for example, let's say you take a semester off and you are on financial aid, then that clock starts ticking. And so when you do graduate, you might not have as much time. But that is something a little more complex, which we don't have to go too deep into right now. But that is something to be aware about as you are heading into post-grad life. Another financial aid tip is, not a lot of students know this, but I'm sure many of you may already know, but just as a tip, 150% of your attempted units is covered by financial aid. So for example, for Sac State, you need 120 units to graduate. However, let's say if you failed some classes, had to repeat some courses, or whatever, if you change your major and you have to switch over into different prereqs, requirements, all that stuff, then you only have 180 attempted units covered by financial aid, meaning anything past the 180 mark, you do have to pay out of pocket. And I did do my research on this before spewing this information, but a lot of students may or may not know this. So make sure you know. I am not familiar with UCs, but I do think they do follow the 150% rule, which is the number of units you need to graduate, 100 times that by 150%. That's how many attempted units you can take to have covered by financial aid. So definitely understand that. If you haven't taken a financial literacy course, which is understanding loans or how credit cards work, I definitely recommend that. I do know a lot of younger students who do not know, and so it's important to know what your money is being used for. So make sure you take consideration of your money and be responsible for it. But that's all I have for finances. But it's the biggest thing. If that's all you can remember from this webinar, money is important for school and post-grad life. So next. So how to conquer life. The best way is to stay positive. Mindset is everything. I can definitely relate to this 100% because there are some days where I don't feel the best. Some days aren't as great as others, but it's important to stay positive and make sure that you know that the next day is going to be better. If today didn't work out as you may have planned, it's normal. It happens. Life happens. It's how it is. And then my second thing is to be proactive. So being proactive is basically you're taking initiative. You're not dilly-dallying. You're getting work done. You're trying to make sure whatever situation you're in right now, you want to make it better. So it's all up to you. And of course, treat acne. I see your comment, Mark. And of course, take care of yourself, which is what's going to be next. Treat yourself. So as we all talk about, mental health does not stop after college. Mental health continues because there are days where we don't feel cool, we don't feel as great of ourselves because we're not as busy or we're too relaxed or maybe just not as involved. And so definitely take care of yourself. If you guys all know about the quarter life crisis, when you hit 25, I don't know if it's a real thing yet. I'm not 25 yet, but definitely take care of yourself, even post-grad life, because life can be a little harder than it is in post-grad, or it can be easier. All depends on what your life situation is, but definitely take care of yourself. Watch your mental health. Ask for help if needed. You don't need to stop taking care of yourself once you graduate. And definitely know your self-worth. It's definitely important to know that you are an important individual. You do matter, and you are a contributing member of society in some way, shape, or form. Your life is important, and just remember that you have friends and family that do care about you. They want to see you succeed, and don't compare yourself to other individuals who may seem like they are farther in life, but hey, social media can create that picture, and it can definitely affect our self-worth because we don't feel as worthy. But remember, you matter, and know you are worthy. Matter. Yeah. Next. So USP. So this is something I had mentioned earlier. So this is something I learned when I was tackling my grad school applications. So this thing is called unique selling proposition, which is great for grad schools and job hunting. So USP is a huge marketing tool. It's basically saying, hey, I am fit for your school, fit for your job position because of this. So it's basically you are trying to sell yourself, and no one can sell you better than you. So make sure you know who you are. So first of all, you need to know who you are. Make sure you understand why you're here. Why are you at this employer's office trying to get the job, or why are you at this school trying to get into a certain class or program? What can you offer? Because a lot of times it's the school will offer you this, but what can you offer the school? So make sure, or the job. So make sure you know what you can do as an individual. So definitely know yourself. How can you stand out? Because, for example, when you're doing those grad school interviews, you're usually in a smaller group of people who are trying to get the same spot that you're trying to get at. So make sure you make yourself stand out in a positive way. If it calls for a business suit attire, don't wear something neon-y or over flashy because that's not the right way to stand out. You want to make sure you stand out in the right professional manner, and make sure they know why they should pick you over someone else. So that's where you start to sell yourself as an individual, as a student, as a future employee. So make sure you understand your unique selling proposition. That's all I can give for that, but know it, use it, make it yours. So next. So also remember that life is 2/3 planned, 1/3 improvised, or sometimes it can be the other way around where life is 2/3 improvised and 1/3 planned. So this is something to consider because I myself like to have everything planned out. I like to know what I'm doing from Monday through Friday, from February to March, April, May, because I like having a solid schedule foundation. But sometimes we have to be flexible to where, especially me, to be flexible that it can't always be that way. We need to make sure that we are able to adapt to our surroundings and be okay with what goes on. But definitely don't walk into something blindly. You want to make sure you have some sort of plan. So consider that. Another thing to remember is that don't cry over spilled milk. So this was a popular saying I used when I was president in Circle K because I was so busy. I was doing a million things at one time, and I knew that if I worried about the little things that I couldn't control, then I knew that I would be overly stressed out. I would not be able to do what I can as a president, as a student, or in my job, or whatever I was taking on in that time point in my life. And so, control what you can control. If there's something that you are able to do within that time frame, get it done, and then worry about something else later that isn't affecting you right now. So that's what it means by don't crying over spilled milk. If it's spilled, you can be sad for a moment, but make sure you pick yourself back up and go grab yourself another glass of milk if you need to. And so the next thing I want to embody for y'all is this is one of my favorite quotes that I've gained over the past year from attending professional training conferences. And the saying is, when the world goes negative, my mouth goes positive. So a lot of times we do encounter a lot of negative things in life, whether it's people, whether it's situations, work, school, life, college, whatever, you name it. And it can definitely affect us as individuals because we are, it's natural for us to feel human emotions and feel bad sometimes. That's normal. Get angry, frustrated, irritated, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's about how you handle that situation. So that's why when you say my mouth goes positive, you're not going to dig into that negativity. You're going to go and try and be the bigger person, stand higher and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to step out of the situation and see what I can do to make it better, contribute to it, and overall learn from this experience and move forward. So it happens. We all make mistakes, and it's important that we try not to dwell on it too much and learn from it and move on. So next. So I had a few people submit some questions. So the first question we have here is, when is the best time to apply for graduate school scholarships? So my response is anytime. So you really can apply for scholarships anytime as long as you specify your intent to enroll dates. For example, if you want to apply for scholarships now for fall 2019, you're able to do that. If you want to utilize it for spring 2019 based on the deadlines, then of course that's definitely to consider. The next thing to also note is that watch for specifications because a lot of scholarships also want to know if these are going to specific programs or if these are programs specified. Okay. They also want to know your financial need. If you are someone that is not financially stable, then they will probably put you ahead of other people who are a lot more financially stable. I know some scholarships also have in-state and out-of-state rules. So definitely just look into the scholarships you're applying and look into what they are asking for. And the last thing is to apply anyway, because you really never know if you'll get it or not. There's sometimes just free money laying around and people don't apply for it. So apply for it anyway, because you never know how much you can get. Next. Another question someone had asked is, how do I incorporate CKI onto my resume? Which is, I think, very common because we think it's a service organization. How do I make this relevant to my future job? So here's what I have for you. Know the job description and of the job that you're applying for and cater your duties to it. So let's an example as something to consider. So let's say a job description asks, we want someone with exceptional interpersonal communication skills. So, okay, so how do I make that into my resume? So here's how I would do it. So if I was president, this was president duty, I would put down president. I would put utilize exceptional interpersonal communication skills to enhance member retention and involvement, which would be the next thing to say. So that's one way of saying it, but you want to utilize it in a way to where it's related to your what you did in that position and how you can relate it to your future position. One tip I have also is to quantify it to make it better. So what I mean by that is if you can add numbers to some of your duties, for example, utilize exceptional interpersonal community skills among 65 plus general members to retain member retention and involvement, something along those lines, then it shows that, okay, you can measure how you use that skill. So that's definitely something to consider. The next thing is continuity, involvement, and detailed duty skills. A lot of employers want to see how long you were in that position, you were in that organization for. So the longer you are involved in Circle K and the longer you hold positions, then you can start building on that, and it shows that you're very involved. So definitely take advantage of whatever Circle K has to offer because it has helped me in my career goals and my jobs. And a lot of what I do, I use Circle K for, believe it or not. And then the last thing is if any of you do need more resume tips, feel free to personally ask. I can definitely give you more tips on how you can better improve your resumes or how to make yourself stand out a little more. All those things, organization, all that fun stuff, let me know. And then I have one more question. The last question was, what are advantages and disadvantages of grad school versus working immediately? So the first things first is that a lot of people want to consider if they want to work after they graduate college or just go to school right away. So here are some things to consider. If you decide to work instead, you do have that 6 month grace period where loans do pick up your interest. So it's important to, if you are working immediately, begin paying those off, or else the interest will just continue to build up. A lot of people want to work immediately because they helps them gain life experiences. And as sad it is to say, graduate schools do like seeing more mature and older applicants because they know they have experienced life a little bit more compared to someone who has graduated college recently. So it's not a bad thing. I think it's actually better, but that's actually what I'm doing. I decided to go into work first to build my work experience, life experience, and then apply all those things from college and my life experience to my grad school applications. You do have more time to do your own thing. So you actually have more free time to not worry about school and enjoy life a little bit because woohoo, college and life. Hello. And then build up your finances, of course. So it's definitely, again, important to make sure that you are saving some money, paying off your bills, paying off your loans, anything that requires payments. Hi, Dylan. To build up your finances. So that's also one thing to consider. And then if you are someone that wants to go into school right away, you do get your master's in schooling out of the way, which I think sounds really nice too, because then you can start working into the field you actually enjoy and then actually start working in your field. I think is a huge plus. And then at the same time, you can also, if you want to work while you're in school, it is a possibility, but I know some schools, they do require you to be a full-time student. So working is not always plausible, but it does happen. I know some students that go to school and go to work all the time. And then, of course, doing all that while paying off your loans. So if you are going to grad school, you do see a little increase in your loans, but hey, it's all an investment to your career and your education and to better yourself as an individual. So that's my take on the advantages and disadvantages of it. I am more on the working side right now because I want to make myself more competitive for grad schools. But again, that is my own personal thing. If you decide to do the latter, go for it. Do what makes you happy and what fits you best. Okay. So thank you all. If any of you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to add them into the chat. Or if you want to personally message me about anything about life after graduation, please feel free to let me know. I do want to continue mentoring and giving back to, of course, my old Circle K clubs and former college students who are still trying to figure themselves out. That is something I enjoy. So I'll go ahead and give a couple minutes to see if anyone has any questions. Feel free to ask. I am not shy. I will answer anything you need. Feel free to hit up the chat box. I love you too, Dylan. I love you too, Lawrence. Hi, Dylan. Is that a poop emoji? Just call me your poop. Should I be offended? Oh my gosh. um, I'm happy you graduated, Dylan. That's all that matters. You're in college now. Better than 2.0. 2.0 is still passing, and I do not discredit anyone that has a 2.0. You never know what their life situations may be. A C is classified as average. Yes, that is correct. Oh, okay. I guess you're slightly above average. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Give it a couple more minutes. Well, if no one has any questions, then I thank you all for coming. I hope this webinar was helpful. I hope you learned a little thing or two about what to expect in grad life, or how to handle it, or if you want to stay in school forever, like me, I'm just gonna be in school forever. Because school is fun. I like school. I actually do enjoy school. School is fun. I don't care what anyone else says. School is interesting and I enjoy learning. It keeps my brain from turning to mush. Because if you did, your brain does stop growing after 25. After that, it's downhill. Keep your brain active. All right. If no one has any questions, I'll go ahead and end this webinar right now. You have 6 years to get smart. Keep going at it, Dylan. I believe in you. 6 years. You're 19? Oh my gosh. Wow. I just feel old. Birthday's in a week. I turned 24. All right. Well, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and cut off this webinar. Thank you all for attending. I hope you learned a thing or two. I'm going to go ahead and say sayonara and enjoy your night. Good night. Have a nice night. Good night. Goodbye. Hello. Bye-bye.
Let's eat. Let's go.